Callejas Jr. with us here in the John Mendola show. These guys kind of talk a little bit about, hey, people didn't expect us to do this. We graduated, all this stuff. But in the end, they work hard. You got a lot out of them, and here you are getting ready for the playoffs. And I'm sure all of you, everybody said, hey, we're feeling pretty good, but we know it's still one game at a time. Talk about this regular season for you guys.
Yeah, coming in, I was one of them just because of, we returned Matt and Mike, and Mike was the only starter, but they attributed for about 13, 14 points a game. So we lost a lot, and I knew we had, some kids coming back, but you never know how they're going to react to playing in varsity and having different roles. Like Mike's become a number one guy, Matt's, maybe a 1B, but 1A on defense. And they've exceeded my expectations. I can honestly say that. And it's them. It's because of the work they put in and the way they practice and compete against each other. They're friends, but when they're on the court, they go at each other to make each other better. And I think that's what it stems from. And they've built their own culture. We've always had a culture here, but they've built their own culture, and it's carrying over.
Your senior Charlie's like, I said, hey, what'd you learn from Coach Callejas that you could learn in life? He said, he's always taught me to work hard and good things will come. And he's going to take that down the road, computer science and college at the next level. Those are the things you really feel good about. Basketball's great, kid goes, plays at the next level. But it's those life lessons that, you coach a kid, you're around a kid, and a kid like Charlie, such a good young man.
He's amazing. You couldn't have, if you were going to have one senior on the team, you couldn't have a better senior than Charlie. And he didn't play much for his 3 years. He went through the whole program, and the work he puts in the off season really allowed him to be where he is now. And again, he started for us. He's come off the bench. He guards guys, 1 through 4. He hits threes for us. He defends, and he's one that's accepted his role. And being around it, you have to have guys that accept your role. And for him to be, a senior and a leader and accept his role, and his role changing has been a positive, and I have no doubt he's going to be a successful young man, on the court and obviously off the court down the road.
The junior class is strong, but boy, you got some freshmen that when you talk to them, you could tell they're ballers. They're just athletes. They've been around, like they're seasoned. They're ready as freshmen. That they're ready to handle this.
Yeah, we have actually 5 up. Playing JV and varsity. CJ and Adam getting the majority of time on varsity. And the thing with them is we knew who they were coming in. But once you get through summer workouts and gelling them with the team and the way that they compete, they're not your typical freshmen. They felt like they belonged from day one, and they competed that way. And they're not. I would say they were probably afraid the first game. It was a packed house against Valley View, who was again rated high. Was a bit of a struggle, but for that to be the only game, it is incredible. And yeah, they make mistakes, some freshman mistakes, but they play through it because of the adversity they faced and how hard they work. And again, they're not afraid of any moment, which is rare to have in a freshman.
Putting away some of these teams, Riverside, go to overtime, whatever that is. Talk about winning some of those close games, and you have 2 losses against Scranton and Valley View.
Yeah.
But you're beating teams, and you guys find ways to win. But
yeah,
you guys have a quality team.
Yeah. And again, I think that stems from their practice habits and our preparation. But to see them win on the road against, just Riverside, a Dunmore rivalry, Mid-Valley, at Old Forge was a tremendous game. We have kind of a saying, if you want to be a championship team, you got to win on the road. And in our league, we had kind of a lot of the big road games in the beginning of the year. And fortunately, we were able to come out on top of it. And it just set the tone, because winning that early on the road and facing the adversity we faced, we were up some games, down late, and made comebacks. And it just gave them an overwhelming confidence that, if we put in the time and work hard, we're not losing. We may, but they just have that overriding confidence that's carried on from our league being really good, with players and coaches.
Watching playoff games over the years, you're seeing more. And thinking of a game a couple of years ago where a sharpshooting team took down a Holy Redeemer because they were such sharpshooters. Holy Redeemer's so athletic and so balanced. Let's talk about that inevitability of just you're a heck of a shooter. You're not just one of the best around here. You're one of the best around anywhere. So how tough is it for you to kind of focus in on making sure these guys have the right mechanic shooting while you're coaching a team? Is that a whole separate entity?
Yeah, it is, honestly. It is super hard, to go through a practice. And, I'll try to pick small things, but that's something more you could do in the summer. I mean, there's constant reminders, in every shooting drill we do and free throws we do. I'm constantly reminding them of, what good shooters do and good habits, because I'm not a believer in having slumps. I'm a believer in, you may not shoot good for a few games because you let a bad habit creep in. So I'm constantly looking at that, but it is definitely hard, to fix 1 through 15 guys. That's another thing. We're a good shooting team, but they've learned how to win when we don't shoot well. And Matt's the anchor on the defensive end. He affects, and I'm honest, 8 to 10 shots a game. He's had games where he's had 7 to 13 blocks. And they've learned to win with our pressure defense when we're not shooting well, and rebounding and getting stops. So, we work on shooting a lot, but through the course of the year, we've learned to win when we aren't shooting well too.
No lefties? I mean, like bowling, you're looking for a lefty. Basketball, you're looking for a lefty. You're the lefty specialist. Now you're going to coach all righties.
Yeah, yeah, that's the funny thing. And then going into our game against Elk Lake, we're facing a few lefties. So, yeah, we don't have any lefties, but
what are you going to do? Let's talk about, seeing these guys, having fun, enjoying each other's company, the bonding that just makes a team special. You see that with the squad, and then taking in those young freshmen and making them a part of it. They all said, listen, they welcomed us. This Holy Cross community is fantastic. I'm at the right place. I'm walking the halls at the right place. I love it.
Yeah, and in the very beginning, it isn't easy, because they're coming from different places, and when you have freshmen that are willing to compete and good, it makes it hard, to fit in, because you're going against kids 3 and 4 years older than you. So it is amazing now, but in the beginning, it was a bit of a challenge. And the older guys kind of stepped in and showed everyone how things are done, and they were receptive towards it, and it's only gotten better. With every game and every month, it's gotten tremendous. And I was just thinking about that when we were sitting over here. The coaches have their own table eating, and I just looked over and glanced at them and see 2 tables of everyone talking and laughing. I was thinking, man, this is great. And a few weeks ago, we went down to see LaSalle and St. Joe's. So we've been doing things like that, and then just having a small school where teachers are always on them, and they're letting me know how they do, and it's just a tight-knit school and community that everyone, falls in love with, and it's gotten only better with time this year.
You might see it, a football team, a soccer team, a field hockey team, a basketball team, where they got to get dialed in. Does this group have to, or you figure they're going to get themselves dialed in? You don't have to remind them, hey, it's one game at a time. You feel like this squad's going to take care of itself and be ready to go? Yeah,
and just going by the regular season, like they didn't really know how to get dialed in at times. I'm saying, we're going to Riverside, and their student section's really loud, and you haven't faced this yet. And from having those games, being at Old Forge, being at Dunmore again, at Mid-Valley, Lakeland, who we lost to a few weeks ago, we kind of let one slip, but they've learned how to take it, one game at a time. Now we have just a bit of difficulty because you're off 10, 11 days, which you never had. So a few practices, we just tried to stay, in condition, not really go over anything that we're going to do or face teams until now. But, I try to keep them dialed in, and I'll constantly, give them reminders to where to be. But I think we want to play Friday and then hopefully get into a good rhythm.
All right, Coach, good to catch up with you finally. I know it's been a busy season for everybody, and we wish you the best, one game at a time.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and thank you for everything you do for our kids in high school sports. Thank you.
You got it.